Hello, everybody, and welcome to LFCTR podcast. I'm joined today by Daz O'Connor. How are you today, Daz?
I'm good. Well, I think we're all good after just watching what we just watched.
Absolutely. So we are literally recording an hour or two after the Alison Becker show, who saved us, kept our top 4 chances alive. And I'm also joined by Matty Orm. How are you, Matty?
I'm boss now. He's done now. It's a common theme of Alison, isn't it? He got us saved us in the Champions League a few years ago. Saved our top 4 hopes this year. Man's a legend.
Absolutely. And obviously I'm Richie today, and we are all co-hosts. So we'll be passing on the responsibilities of hosting all the way throughout the podcast. So as I said, we are just off the back of an Alison Becker performance that has kept our top 4 dreams alive. And I don't think we can't start the podcast without discussing the importance of that goal. And the interview afterwards for me was just phenomenal. Just watching him and talking about his father, who tragically passed away. It left a lump in my throat. And after the season that he's had, with the Man City performance, and it was just fantastic. And I'm literally lost for words. So I'll pass over to you guys for your input.
I mean, it couldn't happen to a better fella, just the emotion after him putting that in. And that's a striker's header, by the way. Like for him to get his, neck muscles, that was very Gerrard Istanbul-esque, for watching that. But just the emotions of looking like we were going to get not top 4, and then 30 seconds later, Alison putting the header in. I mean, this is Liverpool. Like I was talking to you, Richie, before. This is the Liverpool way.
It really is. It's like Liverpool produce big moments on big occasions, and that was certainly up there. And if we get Champions League football, I will always look to that. And that was our moment that solidified Champions League football. For me. Matty, were you out watching that as well?
Yeah. For me, it felt like it was one of them games. Like last season, we always could score in the very dying embers of a game to win, and this season we haven't been able to do that. So as the game was getting later and later on, you just thought this is just going to be one of them days. And then obviously they had their second goal ruled out, which is a bit of a saucy one, so that I wouldn't have ruled that out myself. But and then it gets to them like the 90th minute and stuff, and you're like, West Brom. And that was, for me, it felt like West Brom was the start of our bad form a few months ago. Yeah. So it's just like, these are going to ruin our season again. And then when he ran up, you just thought, nah, I just don't see the point in it usually. Mm-hmm. And then he scored, and I just ate my words. And it's hard.
I just like the amount of times I've said, even in our group WhatsApp, like, what is the point of Liverpool even taking a corner? Because we've never, since Van Dijk got injured, we never even looked like scoring from a corner. So maybe we should just quickly give, I don't know, Williams the goalkeeper gloves and just let Alison go up for every corner, and Williams can play rush keeper.
It's massively missing without Van Dijk, innit? Like we're no threat off a corner without him, really, and we never usually beat the first man. So it was nice to see us actually whip a corner into the box and not take it short in the 90th minute for once. Yeah. And B, it was good to see it happen to Alison. Like Dad said, it couldn't have happened to a nicer fella. And he's just wasn't he like the first keeper to have an assist last season? Now first keeper to score this season. He's just the man for the big occasion. Like Dirk House.
Yeah, he is. He's just phenomenal.
That has been frustrating though this season with the short corner. I've never understood it, because that hasn't worked either. So if you can't get past the first man, and then all you're doing is just passing like 10 feet in front of you, and it still doesn't work. So yes, I don't know. Yeah, especially with the West Brom lads too. They're big lads, and Trent was putting the crosses in, nothing was working, and then Alison pops up, runs 90 yards, by the way, and then heads it in.
Yeah.
In the rain.
And Big Sam outdone by a set piece. You can't write it, but we will get on to our quick transfer update. So our first one comes from fishesnes.net, and it says Atletico Madrid want to make Naby Keita signing. And obviously we know the season that Naby Keita's had, especially after the hooking against Real Madrid. The source itself, I've personally not heard of it before, but we'll see where it goes. Il Malinista, which is a Gazzetto dello Sport outlet, also says that Liverpool are front runners for Rodrigo de Paul's signature this summer. And we've spoken about Rodrigo de Paul on the podcast, and we know what he's all about. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes. He certainly looks like he's going off. Our third source is from Sky Sports. And again, sometimes right, sometimes wrong, really, with Sky Sports, who says Sander Berge is available at a cut price deal following Sheffield United's relegation. He was originally on a 45 million release clause, but that's been cut now to 35 million due to their relegation. And the final link really that we're looking at, half link really, is from Jan Arj Fortoft, who has claimed Liverpool want to sign Jadon Sancho this summer for around about 90 million euros. Fjortoff is, a bit of a chancer perhaps, but Patrick Berger from Sport 1 has confirmed that is true. However, who wouldn't be in for Jadon Sancho? It's not as if Liverpool have made an offer. Liverpool are interested. They want to sign Sancho. Let's be honest. Who wouldn't want to sign Sancho? But for more information on these stories, head to our website for more in-depth analysis. Lads, anything in there that stands out to you at all? Anything that perhaps interests you or anything that you want to rubbish out?
I think Jadon Sancho is more doable than people think it isn't doable, For 90 million euro, Klopp always says that Liverpool are always in the market for the right player at the right place, and you're not getting Jadon Sancho for a better price than 90 million euro. I do think one of the front three will probably leave this summer, so that would free up the funds. But if you're talking 90 million euro, you could probably raise them funds through selling the likes of Harry Wilson, Shea Ojo, Ben Woodburn, Karius, Gruich, players like that. So I think Sancho is very doable. And why would he rather go and work under Solskjaer when he could work under Jurgen Klopp?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the only thing that, Matty's hit the nail on the head, the only thing why he wouldn't want to come is if he's not guaranteed first team football with Mane, Jota, Salah, Firmino. But if one of them go, then there is that space there, and there will be the money. So yeah, that would be the only thing for me really. Is Sancho guaranteed to be in that starting lineup?
And do you think he'd come if we didn't get Champions League?
I mean, Dortmund of Frankfurt slipped up, didn't they, last night? So Dortmund now look like they are going to get Champions League. So if we didn't and Dortmund didn't, then you might have said, well, actually, Sancho's going to be better at Liverpool under Jurgen Klopp. But, Dortmund are getting a really excitable manager, Marco Rose, soon. So yeah, you're right. Would he come if Dortmund are in Champions League and Liverpool aren't?
You think back to James Milner, though. He came to Liverpool because he felt that was his best chance at winning the Champions League. So maybe Sancho could think the same. Because out of England's biggest clubs, realistically, I know we're not in the final this year, but future, there's only really us and City you can really see winning the Champions League, and maybe Chelsea. I think United are way off, Arsenal are way off, Tottenham are way off. So there's nobody else really in the Prem who you could really go to, and it's only really us or City. And then would you go to City because he wouldn't be playing all the time? Their team's just far too good.
I always wondered why he's never seen. It always does seem to be Liverpool or Manchester United who he's linked to. Why is he never linked to Man City? And is that because he left them when he was younger, perhaps? But I don't know.
Yeah, it could be. We all know City's probably going to go in for Haaland, or I would say Haaland would be going to be. I think Mbappe. I still don't understand the rumours of even Mbappe going to Madrid. Where's Madrid going to get the money from?
Yeah,
they're not doing too good money wise. Same with Barca as well. So City to me, or he stays at PSG for another year.
Yeah, but his contract doesn't run out until next summer. So maybe, Real Madrid are nearly €1 billion in debt, so they're not going to fork out for Mbappe. unless they're moving half of their squad, which again this summer with the pandemic, you would say the money's not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but moving on to a transfer rumor in detail that we will look at, and I'm going to pass over to Daz here, and it's that Liverpool apparently have agreed personal terms with Ibrahima Konate, and that's from Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah, I mean, Fabrizio is pretty reliable, and he's been saying, talking about Konate for quite some time. And as we all know, this past yesterday, Konate's Instagram account has taken off everything that says Leipzig on it. So that kind of makes us all think what's going on. But if he's agreed terms, that's brilliant. But I'm also hearing we have not done the release clause. I think that's because Michael Edwards is working his magic for some gold dust, and probably trying to get the contract down money wise, or a cheaper buyout clause. But I think he's definitely a Klopp player. 21, tough as nails. The only problem he's had is the injuries that I've seen in the last 4 years. He's played less than 60 games, which is nuts, but it's a very reliable source. So I guess we'll see in the upcoming weeks. I'd like to see him in Liverpool, but then obviously that's got to be Kabak finished. That's another another one that we need someone that can come in straight away, basically, because we don't know if Virgil will be ready come August, or Gomez, or even Matip. All it's going to take is Matip to get another injury. And I mean, how many injuries did he have last season? So yeah, I mean, I'd love to see him. I don't know about you lads, if you've seen much of him.
I mean, I've seen a couple of Champions League games, and when after we finally came out of lockdown the first time, and the Bundesliga was the first league to resume, I was just like all over the Bundesliga. I know that Konate had I think it was one major injury on his hip that he had surgery for, and the other injuries are like quite short term. So hopefully he's over that big injury. But yeah, he's only played 13 games for Leipzig this season, and scored a goal. So apparently it's rumored that he'll join, and up until 2026 his contract will be. So it's a good spell that, and that's a really good for a 21-year-old. That's a nice time really to start to bed your career in, with Jurgen Klopp at the helm as well. Next to Van Dijk, you've got Gomez there. Like you said with Matip, yes, he's made a crisps, but he's still on his day. You'd think that Joel Matip has a good influence in the dressing room. He'll have a good influence on Konate as well. So no, I think his release clause is about 45 million, and if you're talking about 45 million for a 21-year-old central defender who is better than Kabak, who is better than Phillips, it sort of makes sense. What are your thoughts, Matty?
It's worth noting with Konate, his injuries look a lot worse than they are, because when he's come back from injury, he's struggled to break back into the Leipzig team, so he hasn't played as many games. Like Richie said, he has only had that one severe injury really on his hip. I don't think it means the end for Kabak though. I do think that Kabak will come in the summer as well, and I think we'd be mad to not pay the £18 million for him. We might even get him cheaper, because they've just been relegated as well from the Bundesliga, so we might even get Kabak at a good cut price deal. So I get him as well. And to be honest with you, with Matip, I do think we probably will let him go this year. He is on his day one of the best defenders in the world, but it's just his days few and far between with his injuries. But Konate, I'm excited for, and I do think he's coming in as Virgil's centre-back pairing. Gomez's injuries are a lot worse than Van Dijk's. He's actually torn a tendon that connects both parts of your leg together. I was listening to a physiotherapy on on a podcast, and he was saying that he could maybe never play at this level again. So it's maybe worth seeing what he comes back like, and maybe that's why they are going in the market big and getting someone like Konate. But I'm excited, to be honest with you. He looks the real deal.
Well, sorry, mate. Sorry. With Gomez, obviously he can cover for Trent. He was originally, wasn't he, a right back? So I know he's not going to have that maraudering pace and creativity like Trent does. But if you're playing, I don't know, let's say we're playing Man City and we have to defend, then Gomez is that, defensive right back is going to offer, just as good, if not better, defensive capabilities as Trent can. So maybe he could come in and slot in there. And then you've also got Phillips, Kabak, Konate, Matip. I mean, I think Matip might go if Konate and Konate do come in, and Van Dijk. So maybe Gomez switches to the right, because we know that Klopp doesn't trust Williams right now. I think it's fair to say, the game time that Trent's played.
Williams could do with a good loan.
I think so. I mean, on Konate, though, he's in the 83rd percentile in progressive carries, which would really suit Liverpool's play with defenders roaming further at the pitch. We've seen Matip do it, and we've seen Van Dijk dribble the ball off and out of defence, and he looks like he has those capabilities, and he's in the 83rd percentile, so of successful carries. So it looks like he'll hopefully slot straight in.
Yeah, you will hope.
I know it's a different pace, isn't it? The Premier League to the Bundesliga. And there is a bedding in period. I think Thiago found that out this season. But now look at him. He's a Rolls Royce of a player that we always knew he was, and it's just taken a bit of time and that Richarlison injury to actually be embedded. But he looks phenomenal now the past couple of games.
Yeah, I think it helps with Fabinho playing behind him as well, so we can get further forward that little bit more as well. I'm so excited by Thiago, and I'm so happy that he's starting to finally tick, because think of Henderson back in that midfield. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fantastic. But we've also been looking at, can't say his name properly, Houssem Aouar, is it?
Aouar
from Lyon, and apparently it's going to be a cut price of €30 million, and for me, that's an absolute steal. He made his senior debut when he was 19 for Lyon, and he scored 7 goals and 4 assists this season in 29 games. He averages a goal or assist every 164 minutes, and for €30 million, it's about 25 million, something like that. And he's world class. He's in the 99 percentile for loads of stats, isn't it?
Yeah, he is. He's very. I mean, he's 22 as well, and that's a big selling point. I think he's 22 years old, and I think he's almost like your hybrid of Naby Keita and Oxlade-Chamberlain. Put them both together, and you've got Houssem Aouar. And I know that French football, their TV deals took a huge kicking. Their finances of the French football finances and Ligue 1 have basically just taken a massive nosedive. So that's why he's available at cut price. And that's why quite a lot of French players are available at a cut price. I just think for me, he adds that if we're talking that Gini is going, which it looks more and more every day likely, that creativity in that midfield, just he would cut it. For me. We've seen Lyon destroy City in the Champions League, so it's not even as if he can do it in League One, but not anywhere else, because he's done it in the Champions League. Over to you.
And again, it'd be under Klopp, and Klopp, as we know, makes players better. I think it'd be good, especially the price wise as well. And being 22, it can only just get better. It fit right in next to Thiago, and Hendo and Fabinho. The options are out there, with him coming in, because we have had problems breaking down these mid-table teams and bottom teams, especially this season, with really no creativity. And he's a creative player that'll graft as well. So I'm all for it. And it's not my money as well, so I'm all right with it.
Yeah, absolutely. He pressures on average 14 times a game as well. Every 90 he pressures about every time 14 times. So he would slot straight into that gegenpressing system. So it's not even as if we have, Klopp's going to have to teach him when to press, when to go, when to stop, or even how to press. He's already doing it.
Yeah.
Which, for me is a big point. If you're going to have anybody come into that midfield, and I think perhaps Thiago struggled at the start. I mean, we saw it with obviously Ox didn't play, when he first came in, he didn't really play for a little bit because it's getting used to that system. Same as Robbo, he didn't play, but now look at them. Ox maybe not so much, but before his injury, he was phenomenal. So, I think Houssem Aouar is going to be linked to everybody, and I'd love it if Liverpool could bring him in.
World class if we could bring him in.
So we will now go on to the fact of the day, and it's the first time that you two have gone up against each other. So what essentially happens here is we're going to give everybody, including Daz and Matty, 30 seconds to name the following players for this question. So, as we said, we are literally recording off the back of the phenomenal West Brom game. And Alisson Becker was actually the first goalkeeper to score a goal for Liverpool. However, there are 5 goalkeepers who have scored in the Premier League before Alisson Becker. And you have 30 seconds to name as many as you can. So we looking back at Premier League goals that have been scored by the goalkeeper. There were 5 before Alisson Becker. You have 30 seconds to name as many as you can. Okay, so have a think, and then we've got a chat. We've got a chat box here. So Daz and Matty are going to put theirs in the chat in 30 seconds. But everyone else, scribble them down. Let us know how you get on the Twitter. You've got 30 seconds starting from now.
I don't have a clue,
I think I know 2. Maybe.
I had to look it up, and it was only because the commentator said about 5 goalkeepers, and I was thinking, I know 2 or 3, but I can't remember 5.
I can't think of any.
I know one that was scored from a...
Yeah, there was a couple. Yeah,
But just like a punt. And I remember it hit the wind and sailed right over him. I just can't... Not Tim Howard.
If you put your put your guesses in the chat box, and we'll have a look. But yeah, one of them actually has, obviously, for logistical reasons and logical reasons, they are also the holder of the longest goal as well. So the longest distance from goal.
You're not really helping us, Richie.
Okay, right. So, Matty, do you want to have a stab?
I'm just typing them now. Is it just in the Premier League era?
Yeah, well, yeah, because football when he started in 1992.
I go. There's Alisson, Peter Schmeichel, David James, Tim Howard, and Seaman.
Well, you've got 3 there. So Alisson, is one of them. You got 3. Daz.
Yeah, I'm stuck. Alisson, of course, and then I thought Seaman, and then I thought Tim Howard. But, yeah.
So you've got 2 in there. So Matty actually goes 1-0 up with 3. So obviously we've got our very favourite Brazilian, Alisson Becker. We also have Peter Schmeichel, Tim Howard, who does have that record for the longest goal, Paul Robinson, who scored in a very similar fashion to Tim Howard, Asmir Begovic, and Liverpool's former goalkeeper, Brad Friedel. Makes up the 6.
Are they all from, like, kicks or headers as well.
I think they're a mix. I remember Robinson. Didn't Robinson keep Leeds up through his headed goal? I remember Robinson's.
I remember it.
Yeah, he did, didn't he? He saved Leeds from relegation, I think, that year.
Yeah.
Um,
I just thought of when I was doing. I just thought of any keeper who hadn't played for Liverpool because Alisson was the first one I could remember. I didn't know Brad Friedel. Did he?
Yeah, he didn't score. I think it must have been for Blackburn because he didn't score for Liverpool.
I've
so
never
I think
seen it before myself.
No, I couldn't. That was the one that I couldn't remember that. But yeah, I think Howard and Begovic were from kicks, whereas Robinson and Schmeichel, I think, were from headers. Although nowhere near aesthetically pleasing as Alisson's today.
I don't think it'll be as more aesthetically pleasing than that.
No. But yeah, I mean, any other rumours or any transfer links? Or, I mean, to be fair, this is your first podcast, guys, so I will ask you a question, and I've just sprung this on you as well, so I apologise. If you can sign any player for Liverpool this summer, who would it be? And I mean, I'm talking realistic because the dream for me would always be Mbappe. I don't think that's realistic though. So yeah, who would your wonderful summer signing be?
That's a good question.
I'd go with Camavinga.
I love him.
I think he's going to be world class. I've only seen him a few times, so I don't know too much about him. But when I've seen him, do you know when you watch Curtis Jones, you can just see that he's confident and he just oozes class on the ball. Camavinga's like that, and I just think if he comes to Premier League, he'd be a bit like, yeah, I'm not bothered. I know I'm good. He's unbelievable. And I think realistic signing that we could go and get would be him. I mean, Jadon Sancho is the dream, but part of me just thinks that Klopp's too loyal to the front three to split them up. But yeah, if we get Camavinga, I just think him and Curtis Jones would be generational in midfield.
Yeah, and the next 20 years or 10 years, like our midfield sorted, with those two. But I think, again, how much you believe the rumours, I think it looks like he's PSG bound, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Goes where the money is, They'll give him a nice contract.
It's a bit like Bayern Munich over there, though. Like if they see a good player in that league, PSG are signing them. Similar to the German league, where if Bayern Munich wants someone, they have someone. But then I suppose if we, in a few years, we just have to pay a little bit more money to get them off PSG.
Yeah, that's
a quick one. Then, which one of the front three would leave? For me, it will be Mane.
Yeah,
I think if you bring in Sancho,
yeah,
if you're bringing in a winger, then yes. I think it depends who you bring in, but if you are bringing in a winger, yeah, absolutely. I think Salah is the most disrespected and underrated player in the Premier League history. I love the man to bits. I think he's phenomenal. I'll never have a bad word said against him. But yeah, if it's going to be a winger, then it'll be Mane. But that being said, I think, as much as I hate to say it, Bobby's time does look done. But who's available to play the Bobby role unless you're playing Salah or Jota in there? And maybe you're bringing in Sancho to play on the wings. If you're going to play Salah and Jota in there, then that could work too.
I think Bobby stays. I think it probably will be Mane. You can't replace Salah's numbers, and in this current pandemic world, I think Mo Salah's unaffordable for most clubs. Salah's £160 million plus, isn't he? So if you're getting rid of that, who can afford him and his wages on top of that? So I do think Mane is the one who I could see going most. Maybe even saying to Dortmund, swap Mane for Sancho. Mane is getting a bit on now. I think he's 28, 29.
29, this year.
Yeah, 29. So Sancho's 22. It'd be a good swap deal on our end, and it'd be good for Dortmund because Mane'd thrive over there.
Yeah, it's a really good point, Matt.
Yeah,
Daz.
He just needs Mane just needs to put his footy boots back on and stop wearing slippers. I've never seen a footballer so many times on the floor like this season for him. And obviously confidence is shot. But yeah, I'm with Matty as well. I think Bobby stays at least another season. I would like him to score a few more goals, but he's the link-up man between midfield and the front three. So, yeah, I think Mane would be the one to go. I'd hate to see him go because, he's done so much. But again, you can't always be, wanting the same players over and over again. You got to change it up. And I think Sancho would be a defo improvement.
So you're going Sancho as well?
Yeah, I'd go with Sancho. Yeah, defo.
Amazing. Good. Well, Sancho, let's hope Fjortov is correct and Patrick Berger, our ex-Liverpool man, is correct as well, in that we are actually interested and, we start making moves, because I think we'll have to, especially if he has a good showing at the Euros. See,
that's another thing too. The Euros, most clubs are going to wait till the Euros are finished. If one of the players we're looking at has a really good Euros, their price is going to go, skyrocket. So yeah, we got to. I mean, I believe in Klopp and Edwards. They'll get the right players this summer. They might not be what everybody thinks. Where a lot of Liverpool fans want the Mbappes, the Haalands of this world. That won't happen. I mean, I would say that 200% won't happen. We'll get somebody that's not on the radar. That just fit. I mean, Klopp looks for someone that's like a family man. Devoted to his family. He's a grafter. And can play a few roles in the team as well. So I think some names are going to pop up that all three of us are going to go, you are.
Yeah.
I mean, like today I saw Roma's Pellegrini.
Mm-hmm.
That's been rumored as well. But then Mourinho's coming in as the new Roma manager. So is he going to keep Pellegrini, or is going to let him go? So I don't think he'd want to let him go to Liverpool. So I think that's a non one. And then Matheus Pereira as well. He's very Gini-esque. He's got pretty much. I was looking at the numbers as well. He's got the same numbers as Gini. So that could also be a decent price for him as well, because they got relegated.
First, it annoys me that everyone says, it's the first time Big Sam's been relegated. Fact of the day, 1992 with Notts County, so it's not the first time he's been relegated. First time from the Premier League, fine. But yeah, that's by the by. But Matheus Pereira, 10 goals and 5 assists in a poor West Brom team. Imagine what he could do under Klopp.
Yeah, exactly. And also looking at Fulham's, I've forgotten his last name is Anguissa, Andre Frank Zambo Anguissa. I think I'm saying his last name right. But he's ranked 5th in the Premier League for numbers of players dribble past. And, Traore is number 1 in that. But he's Gini-esque. So we could go for, a cut price player that just fits the mould.
And you've set me up lovely there for a Gini replacement, because next week we are going to be talking about Brighton's Yves Bissouma, who is also linked to Liverpool, and we'll go into detail on that next week. But for this week, thank you very much for joining us in our new lineup, and we will bring back Tommy and Liam whenever they're available, and we look forward to that as well. So big shout out to everybody who's kept with us, and we will see you all next week. But from me, it's goodbye and take care.
Cheers.